to the EA Creator Network for gifting me a copy of The Sims 4 Crystal Creation Stuff Pack. Now let's talk about this magical witch's cottage and crystal shop that I built in The Sims 4. Okay, y'all, so I actually had a blast making this cottage slash crystal shop, and I'm gonna show you the speed build here. And I just want to thank you for being patient with me because this speed build is a little bit all over the place. I am still trying to figure out what my speed build flow is when it comes to like actually making different houses and lots and then recording that and then slicing it up and making a video. What I find is when I'm actually building in The Sims, I bounce between rooms. I go from inside to outside. I don't work in a very methodical, orderly fashion, which is fine for me because it's just kind of like if I see something, I'll like place it out, or I'll start working on, let's say, the roof, but then I'm like, oh wait, do I want to add another room, you know, and go back and forth. But that does make making videos a little bit challenging because I'm like, I don't know what that experience is like for y'all. So I did my best to cut out things that were just me going back and forth on nonsense, but still tried to capture the core of what it was like to work on this build. So let me give you a background of what I'm doing here. I am making a witch's cottage. I basically have decided that with the new Crystal Creations pack, I am going to play through the Crystal Creations pack like aspiration and the Realm of Magic aspiration because I've never actually played with witches. And I thought the best way to do that would be to make queer witches and they're going to live together in this cottage and they're going to run a crystal shop and apothecary. And once I had that idea like nestled in my brain, I just am so excited. I was so excited to make this and I was so excited to play. At the time of posting this, I already have part 1 up on my YouTube channel of what it was like to play with my, what do I call it? The Crystal Magic Let's Play. The Crystal Magic Let's Play is already up. Part 1 is out and I'm super excited. Quickly, the characters in that are based on this book that I'm reading. I don't even know if you can see it. It's called Outdrawn. And like I said, I don't know if my little camera is flipped the wrong way, but it's called Outdrawn by Deanna Grey. It is a enemies to lover sapphic romance, and it stars. Is that what you say about books? The book's main characters are Noah and Sage, and that is the name of my witches in the Crystal Magic Let's Play. And this is where they live. So I built this as a residential lot because I wanted the added challenge of paying for bills. But I realized after I made this that you can actually use this lot like a retail store. And so your Sims just kind of like are on the retail store 24/7. But the way I'm going to play it, or at least the way I would like to play this Let's Play, is by using the selling table that comes with the Crystal Creation Stuff Pack. The problem with that is that I did not figure out until I play tested this lot, meaning I didn't figure this out until I was completely done making this lot. The selling tables don't work indoors. And to tell you that I was devastated to figure that out is an understatement for how I felt. I thought it would be super cute if I used the selling table inside, so it kind of made their house function like a retail store. And most importantly, I wanted the selling table inside because I wanted it to be like the place where all the Sims would gather to buy things off the table, like inside of the actual crystal shop and apothecary. I thought that would be so cute. But it doesn't work inside. So what that means for me is in the Let's Play, I'm probably going to have to drag the table outside. But yeah, I can talk about that again once we get back to actually looking at the table. At this point, what I haven't talked about when it comes to the actual speed build is one, I did use a reference photo. I found this cute, quirky little cottage photo on Pinterest. And I was like, oh my gosh, this looks like a storybook, like witch's cottage. Exactly. So I basically copied the reference. Now, the way that I usually build houses is I use a floor plan reference. So this was actually the first time that I didn't use a floor plan reference and I just kind of used a photo reference for the outside and just like winged it on the inside. I'm like, who am I, a builder? Like, yeah, so that was pretty cool. The picture that I found, it was, like I said, it was super cute. And I liked it because the roof was just a little bit odd, like curvy and like uneven. And then it had like a prominent fireplace, like a chimney on the outside. And I just thought it was so cute. And the other thing here is because this is a witch's cottage, I wanted it to feel a little bit like magical and fantastical, as well as this needs to kind of work as like a shop front on the front half of the cottage. Basically, I was having a problem with the windows. I couldn't decide if I wanted to use the Realm of Magic windows because it's like, you know, magical and mysterious, or if I wanted to use the cottage living windows to make it more like a cottage. I cut out a lot of me going back and forth with these windows. What you're seeing here at this point is me pretty much deciding that I'm going to go with the cottage living like windows. And you see, I'm even removing the Realm of Magic windows because I had them all laid out, but I didn't like the size of them and it wasn't capturing exactly what I wanted. So I got rid of that. But when I tell you that was like, I don't know, 20 seconds here, that took me so long to come to that conclusion. And that's exactly what I mean by when I say I'm like cutting out things, because the thought process, you can really see me trying to decide which windows to use. I mean, it looks like I'm going to have like 20 to 30 minutes of footage at this point. I had 8 hours working on this build. I'm a slow builder, apparently. This is what I'm learning. I think the more I practice, the faster I will get. But at this point, V slow. I want this cottage to feel very magical and straight out of a storybook. That was the idea when I started landscaping. Like, I really wanted to capture the images that I have in my Pinterest board of the different gardens that are just overgrown and just so many flowers and that sort of thing. And it was so exciting because this is the first time that I've made a build like this. I didn't even make a build like this when Cottage Living came out. I find that when it comes to me and The Sims, like when I get an idea and I want to execute it, I work very, very well. But just because a new pack comes out doesn't mean that I'm like super into it. Like when Horse Ranch came out, I wasn't super into the horses, but I was into the idea of making your own nectar. Hence why the first series on my channel is all about nectar making, having nothing to do with horses, because I wasn't like super excited about that. Crystal creations. At first I was like, meh, who cares? But then I'm like, I love crystals. Like in real life, I got crystals. I charge my crystals in the moonlight. Once I saw that that was a feature of the pack, the wheels in my brain started turning because I was like, oh my gosh, this pack was made for me. I didn't even know I wanted this. You know how everyone is always like, who asked for this? Like nobody wants this in The Sims. I didn't know I wanted it. And I'm going to say, personally, I asked for this now. Now that we have it, I'm like, thank goodness we have this. It's a new skill, a new hobby, and it has actual gameplay effects. Super cool. Super cool. And now it gives me an excuse also to play with the witches, because I've had this pack for years, never even touched the witches, never touched the cults. Like the way that I like to play is usually more realistic style, more family style. Didn't care for witches, didn't care for none of that, but I wanted the stuff. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have witches in a Let's Play, and they're gonna like have crystals and charge crystals and stuff, and it's gonna be like a whole magical situation, and it's gonna be in this cottage, okay? So I wanted to make sure that I captured the whimsy and the whimsical garden. So I made a windy path in the front and in the back, and I basically lined the path with plants, so they are like forced to use the path to get to where they wanna go. And I know one day I'm gonna be super annoyed by that, but today, super cute. Love it. Love that they're going through the windy path to get to the front door or the windy path to get to the backyard. And I spent a lot of time digging through Debug. So at the time of making this build, it was a little bit challenging because the patch had just come out and Better Build By hadn't been updated yet. So I was just like raw looking through Debug. I never do that. I love having Better Build By because it organizes it for me a little bit better. So I couldn't find things. So there's a lot of me taking things out of Debug and just putting it on the lot in some way, whether it's all the mushrooms like here, even inside, I found all the different crystals that I wanted to use. And I just kind of grabbed them out of Debug because I didn't know when Better Build By was going to be updated for me to actually go find the crystals later. I don't like it. I don't like having to look through Debug like a regular person. To be perfectly frank, I like having the mod. Okay, so I had to pause because I had to feed my cat. And so one, I don't know what I was talking about. I think I was talking about Debug. And two, if you end up hearing a lot of ruckus, it's because she just ate and she needs to burn off her energy. Anyway, I think what I was saying was that it is really challenging to find what you need in Debug when you don't have the Better Build By mod by Twisted Mexi. So if you don't have that mod and you do play on a PC or a Mac, I highly recommend it, especially if you do a lot of building or if you think you want to get into building. It organizes the debug and live edit options for you. And when you have the mod installed, you don't ever have to enter in the cheats for move objects, for the live edit, or for the debug objects either. So it is very helpful to have that in there, just with a few checkboxes to make things work, like, you know, turning on and off move objects instead of like typing it in the cheat box. You just literally check on the little filter. And like I said, I don't have it installed at this point as I'm doing this, I'm pretty sure. So I can't even point it out to you, but that's okay. Now you can see here that I am lining up the path with some of the grass that's in the catalog. And I'm realizing that there's a few things that I'm forgetting as I'm building this because I'm just so excited. One, this needs to function as an actual garden as well, like not just like an overgrown, beautiful flower garden. So I made my windy path and then I was like, ooh, where are they actually going to like plant things? So that's why I made a little offshoot here and I add the little planter boxes. Again, I'm pulling things out of the buy catalog as I'm seeing things that I find interesting because I want to make sure I have it there to do the decorating. So I pulled out like the water canister from Debug, I think, and, you know, added some more mushrooms and that sort of thing. And then I go back to adding the flowers. And then I was like, I wanted to use the romantic garden stuff because I know that pack, first of all, they were giving it away for free earlier this year or the end of last year, I think. So I figured that a lot of us have it. But then also, when I think of an overgrown, beautiful garden, I want to use the romantic garden stuff pack. So yes, so at this point, I'm just adding more daisies, more flowers. And what I have here is a little bird bath next to the little seating area. Later, I end up swapping that out for a cauldron because, again, I made a small cottage for witches. And then I was like, wait, where are they going to do witch stuff? Like, I'm remembering as I'm building things. Now, because I worked on the outside first, then I started working on the inside. Even if I decided that, I need to make this room a little bit bigger so I can add a cauldron, the outside is completely done now. And I never really build like that. At least I don't think I do. So it was very interesting to like constrain myself because I worked on the outside first. And I'm happy that I worked on the outside of this cottage first because when I used to build lots, the outside was like an afterthought. But in this case, the outside is kind of like the showstopper. Like that's the first thing that you're super impressed with. At least I'm super impressed with this build. So it was fun to have that all like fleshed out and really have an idea in my mind come to life. But that also meant like however big the house is however big the house is. And I better be happy with that. Another thing too, so I was mentioning earlier how because I didn't have the better build by mod, I'm just pulling things out of the buy catalog so I don't forget about them. Like I'm like, I want to use these crystals or I want to use this object to decorate this room. But it also made things a little messy. Like I had all this stuff out and then I was kind of struggling of like, okay, where do I put this stuff so I can finally actually make the crystal shop the way that I want to make it. So that was interesting. I'm not sure if I would want to do that again in the future, but it was still cool because I knew for a fact, like, okay, these are the things that I wanted to use. Also, it was interesting too, because even with these crystals, right? Like some of the crystals don't fit on the shelves. The smaller crystals do, but the larger ones don't. Another thing that I had a challenge with making this shop was I was trying to figure out how cluttered did I want to make the shop. Ideally, everything that's in the shop, they will have found or made themselves. But for the sake of just like aesthetics and setting up my apothecary shop to at least aesthetically look like the way I want it to look, I had to use crystals and whatnot from the buy catalog. Now, one thing that I forgot to add as like fake decorations for this lot is potions. So I do want this little store to be like a magical store. What it's called in real life, if you look it up, it's called a metaphysical shop. And a metaphysical shop is where you can buy things related to like spirituality and magic, basically. So candles, crystals, tinctures, herbs, spices, those sorts of things to basically enhance your magical practices. And that's exactly what I want this shop to be like. And in fact, mentally, I modeled it after one, some pictures that I found on Pinterest, but two, I actually live near an apothecary that I like going into. And so what I wanted to do was channel like a very cluttered but welcoming feeling inside. And I am going to go into the game at the end of this and show you how everything turned out, because it's a little bit different than what ends up happening here. But I feel like I captured that very well. Like, it has the exact kind of cozy but magically vibes that I wanted it to have. One thing that I thought was really cool from my point of view was using the treats as like, I don't know, herbs, if you will. So the treats on the shelves, like little burlap sack with like the different colored like powder in it, those are the chicken treats, the animal treats from Cottage Living. And I was like, oh my gosh, these look like, like little canister of herbs or whatever. And then I decided I was going to put like almost like drying flowers or just more like ingredients, but more in their like natural state on this middle shelf here. And yeah, the packs that were most helpful for making the shop are obviously Crystal Creations, obviously Realm of Magic, but also paranormal stuff, which I didn't have until more recently. But there's a bunch of stuff in paranormal stuff that was helpful. And then another pack that was helpful for this too was Horse Ranch. And I will say that is, I don't know, that's like the gripe with The Sims. Like, to make this little crystal, magical, metaphysical shop required at least like 4 to 5 different packs, because a little bit of everything was dispersed amongst the packs. Obviously, like I said, Realm of Magic, Crystal Creations was the bulk of it, but it's like I'm using Cottage Living for like the fake little treats. I'm using Cottage Living in a bunch of different packs for the different flowers and herbs and stuff. Horse Ranch has Palo Santo, like, and sage in that little canister thing. And it's supposed to be for like the Native American representation in Horse Ranch. But that's also something that's associated with like magical practices, right? And then the paranormal stuff pack has like a little crystal ball and like melted candle wax looking stuff. And so to make this work, I had to use a bunch of different packs, and that's not ideal. And it does make me feel like, why wasn't all this stuff just like together in like one pack? I'm using a little bit of everything to make my little dreams come true. But hopefully it's fine. I think that you can still download this lot and just kind of fill in the blanks if you don't have the packs. I will say that, if you think that this is super cute, but you don't have all the packs, go ahead and download it. And then I will show you in the end what everything looks like together. So you can use whatever packs you have to kind of like fill in the blanks. Because even as I'm looking at this, I'm remembering that little table I have with all the jars and stuff, that's like the bathroom clutter kit. Do you have the bathroom clutter kit? I mean, I have everything, but do you have the bathroom clutter kit? Like, why are little jars that kind of look like little nothings in one little kit when that could have just been in the base game? You know what I mean? Anyway, so now I'm moving on to where my witches, Sage and Noah, will actually live. So behind the shop is the kitchen and dining room. And this is where I'm really leaning into Cottage Living, and making it feel like just a little bit older, a little bit more rustic, you know what I mean? They are not necessarily super, how can I say this? They're not super into the new technology. They're witches. That's the idea. This is an older cottage, right? So there's a lot less space, and it's very quaint and cozy. And so them living here with these like minimal technology was the idea. Like, this is the first house I'm going to have Sims living in. I don't put a TV in there. I put a TV in everywhere. Like that I was impressed with myself. They do have a computer because you need a computer for certain things, but still. Oh, another thing, the little curtains of the leaves that came with the Blooming Rooms kit. Like, just a little, I'm using a little bit of everything to make this feel the way I want it to feel. Now, right now, I am working on like the dining room area. And it's at this point, as I'm looking for new things to put on the walls that I didn't use in the crystal shop, that I come across this little banquet table thing. And I start putting things on this little table. like, a crystal light from Realm of Magic and some other crystals and different things. And I also put I'm getting there. I'm trying to decide what's going to go in this corner. And you're seeing here me going back and forth. This is exactly why I try to cut this out for the most part, because I don't know what I'm doing half the time. But I decide that I want to turn that little table into like an altar. So the idea is that they have some sort of witchy ancestor that they pray to, or that they like recognize in their rituals. And they're just always some little way to recognize their heritage as witches. Not like familially, I didn't say that correctly, but like my witches aren't related. They're roommates. They were roommates. And, but I thought it would be cool to have some sort of like ancestral praying type of thing. And I end up moving that upstairs. So that's what I'm doing now. But then still, it's like, what am I going to put behind the dining room table? You know what I mean? And just to talk a little bit more about my witches. So Sage is the more like dark and moody witch. And Noah is more of the like bubblegum, bright, and like friendly witch. And Sage is going to be the witch that I use to focus on the gemology skill with Crystal Creations. Noah is going to be the one who I'm actively using to work through the spellcaster aspiration, but they're both spellcasters. They're both witches. It's just like, who am I focusing more on what at any given time? They are roommates. There are 2 bedrooms in this cottage. They're very, very small. And yeah, the idea is that they're friends, they're friendly, and, maybe there's a little bit more that they explore as they're trying to run this shop together. Now, in the book, Outdrawn, the premise of the book is that they both work at this, comic book company, and they've been super competitive since college, and now, they are rediscovering each other and rediscovering that they have crushes on each other, blah, blah. I don't want to give it all away. I do recommend the book. There's some spicy scenes in it. It is for adults, all right? So don't come at me. If you're younger than 18, I don't want to hear it. Like, don't read the book. But if you're older than 18, go ahead and pick it up. I think it's really cute. But that is literally who I based my Sims on. Like, their style, their aesthetics, I based it on those characters from the book. In doing so, though, I want to bring up some other complaints that I have about this game. We still don't have enough Afro-textured hairstyles. I was struggling to figure out what I was going to do with my little Sims. Again, I'm using 11 different packs to try to put them in different outfits. And like, for example, with Sage, here, if you've ever watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Sage, to me, in my mind, is the black Rosa Diaz. You know how Rosa Diaz is kind of like the cool, edgy cop who's just, she's bi, and she's just like, her energy, she just reeks this cool energy. She drives a motorcycle. Like, literally, Sage in the book, she drives a motorcycle. She just reeks cool, like, artsy girl energy. Sorry, I'm literally like, love it. But it was hard to, like, capture that for The Sims as a witch. So I don't think I did Sage as much justice as I did Noah. It was very easy to make Noah like a bubblegum pink, cozy, witchy, girly, because first of all, we've got a lot of stuff even from Cottage Living that just totally works for what I was trying to do with Noah. And then secondly, it's just like The Sims has lent itself better to just cozy, bubbly little characters. They've been trying harder with having more of like a dark and broody, moody characters with the new, the goth kit that they came out with and something else that they came out with. So Sage is wearing some of the goth kitty kind of stuff and then something else. But I did feel a little bit like I didn't get her styling just right. So I will be fixing that. Like I said, I've already posted part 1 of the Crystal Magic Let's Play, so make sure you check that out. But between parts, I'm probably going to change a little bit of her outfits. Now, this is their like living room area that I'm working on. And I want Noah to be like more crafty as well. So I want her to knit and do some cross stitching. And I wanted to have a little space for that upstairs. And I really did, but it just wasn't working space wise because I made their little living room area so small. So there was going to be a rocking chair there. And I was trying to figure out like a unique layout so I could have the chairs and also the little love seat. In the end, I was like, it's too small to do any of that with. And so I got rid of the little rocking chair and it's just like a little seating area. And it's so cute. Like I said, there's no TV up there. I ended up putting a computer, which I don't know if I have that yet, but it's just so cozy. Even playing in part 1, it was so cute because it's like, yeah, Noah's like cross-stitching. She's cross-stitching all the time instead of like doing anything productive. And then, yeah, Sage is downstairs in the crystal shop working on the gemology skill. I didn't even sell anything for real in part 1. Oh, and then this part 2, I forgot that I wanted them to have a cat, y'all. Even me talking about this, you didn't know they had a cat this whole time. So then I had to go back and add cat stuff because I was like, dang it, they're supposed to be a cat. They're witches. They have a cat. Thankfully, it wasn't too difficult to add cat stuff after the fact, you know, like little scratching posts and a little bed and whatnot. But yeah, I'm really excited about this build. Let me jump in the game and show you how it turned out. So I placed a lot in Glimmerbrook, which is the world that comes with the Sims 4 Realm of Magic. And I called it the Mystica Apothecary Shop. And this is the cottage, all complete. It is available on the gallery now. Let me show you what it looks like. So this is the front, this is the outside. Like I said, there is like a windy path to get to the front door. I did end up adding the crystal charging, what are these? The crystal charging mats. Oh, Mystical Moonlight Crystal Grid. But basically, this is where you can charge your refined crystals and jewelry so that they get special effects. I have a lot of different markers here for fireflies, and it looks so cute in live mode. And around the side, I've got more plants. And then this is the backyard. It's so cute. I did end up putting out little fairy light things, as well as a meditation stool back here. I have the witch's cauldron back here where they can sit and chat. Back here is the gardening area where I'm hoping that they can plant all the ingredients that they're going to use for their different potions, as well as the crystal tree that comes with the Crystal Creations pack. Then we also have a little easel out here so that they can paint. And again, that's inspired from the book itself because in the book, Sage and Noah are artists. We've got the crystal charging grid back here. And then you can just see like how just I just love it. I love the backyard being overgrown. I love how there's all the plants and the flowers and everything in the front as well. And then I also added signage because it's supposed to be a shop. So let's take a look at the shop. So when you walk into the shop, what you see first are the books and crystals. So this section on this side, when you walk in, is more of the crystal section. And then there's a bathroom as part of the shop as well. There's also here like more of the apothecary section. So there's the herbs and spices and that sort of thing. We've got some Palo Santo here. This is the inventory table that I was hoping would work inside the shop. And like I said, it does not work inside the shop. I left it here though, because this was the original intention. And again, if you download this lot and set it as a retail store, you can replace this with a regular table and just set different things for sale, which is great. Also, I forgot to mention that I did open a ticket on Answers HQ over on the EA website about the selling table not working inside. So if you want to help my dreams come true for the selling table working inside of the crystal shop, please check the description below with the link to my ticket so you can click me too that you're having this problem and that you want it fixed by the Sims team. We have the fireplace here that has some decor on it, included like melted candles. I added like a vase with like a big old crystal thing as well. I thought that was kind of cute. We have a scale here to measure herbs, as well as a mortar and pestle where you can grind up the different herbs. That was the idea there. Another example of a random thing from a random pack. Like that came with 4 rent, but it's perfect for my little crystal shop. So forgive me for using every pack imaginable. And then back here is where Sage will actually be refining crystals and making jewelry. So it's just so cute. And I'm going to go into like a first person mode. Look how cluttered and cozy this feels. Like that was the idea, that you would walk in and just be surrounded by all the mysticism and magic that they have to offer here. But they also live here. So this is the kitchen. This is the dining area. And then also where the cat food is, and as well as the storage bench. And then when we come upstairs, we have their seating area. There's the cat tree, as well as like a desk with a computer. They've got some more bookcases up here, as well as storage for Noah's crafts. And as you see here, this is the ancestral altar where they have offerings and that sort of thing for their witchy ancestor. The bathroom up here is pretty simple, but this is Noah's bedroom. It is really small, but it's pink and bubbly to reflect her personality. And then we have Sage's bedroom, which is like dark and moody to reflect her personality. Anyway, if you want to download this build, it's on the gallery. It's called Mystica Apothecary Shop. Now, here's the thing. It looks like it's on the gallery twice. I don't know why that is. Either one should work just fine. But yes, again, it's called the Mystica Apothecary Shop. But that is the whole build. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and turning on the post notifications so you know when my next build goes live. I do go live every week on this channel, so make sure you are subscribed for that as well. And the fun does not stop here. Like I said, part 1 of my Let's Play is already up, the Crystal Magic Let's Play. So make sure you check that out. Until next time, dag dag!